Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome, Roomers and Zoomers, to the Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church, our very special Christmas Eve service. I am Wendy Karn, your intern minister. Reverend Sean, I'm happy to say, is spending Christmas with her family in Washington, and we all wish her well. She is spending Christmas with her family. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this evening with Jacob Swetland, our director of music ministries, and Carrie Jo on piano, and of course, our amazing and wonderful choir. It's wonderful to see you all here tonight. We're so glad you're here. Before I continue rumors, I invite you to silence your cell phones so that you can bring your loving attention to this holiday worship. And Zoomers, hello, Merry Christmas. You're invited to extend your greetings to one another in the chat and wish everyone happy holidays. One of the great traditions that we have here in this church is that later in the service, we will name all of the babies that were born this year within our congregation. So if you were confused about the piece of paper that was being offered to you on the way in, you are welcome to raise your hand and we'll bring you a slip of paper if you would like a baby in your life to be named as part of this service. Zoomers, you will be invited to write the name of a baby born this year in the chat at that time so that we can read them aloud as well. I want to remind you also, Zoomers, that later on we will be doing a candlelight service. And if you would like to dim your lights a little and have a candle nearby, you can participate in that with us at that time. So I hope you will join us in the singing too. And we'll begin the service with the lighting of our chalice with a special Christmas reading. Oh, I'm so sorry. But you know what? We're going to sing a carol first.
Please rise in body or spirit, and let's sing our opening carol, O Come All Ye Faithful. 2, 3.
I will light the candles this Christmas Candles of joy, despite all of the sadness. Candles of hope, where despair keeps watch. Candles of courage for fears ever present. Candles of peace for tempest-tossed days. Candles of grace to ease heavy burdens. Candles to love and inspire all my living. Candles that will burn all year long. Thank you, Reverend Judy. She'll be back in a bit. They say in an age of fear, when evil kings ruled and people fought among themselves, light began to shine. They tell us of a bitter cold night when out on the hills, songs of peace warmed the winter air. The path was long and the way unclear, they say, but the wise followed a light of hope. There was no room for the family in need of shelter, but the young father and mother found warmth among animals, so that when a child was born, it was hope from hardship, light from dark. It was the possibility of ages come to earth. It has always been this way whenever a child enters the world. Thank you, choir. That was beautiful. So I am an intern minister, and as part of my seminary work, we are required to take a unit of certified pastoral education, which is essentially an intense crash course in interfaith hospital chaplaincy. And on most days, what this meant is that we were assigned to specific areas of the hospital and visiting patients, which is essentially what I would call spiritual cold calling. That's one way of describing it. And you just never knew what to expect on the other side of any door or curtain. And I would usually take a moment to center myself and look at the most basic information about the patient, what language they spoke, their age, and only minimal information was there about why they were in the hospital. So I always kind of took time to be cautious, especially because, when you're in the hospital, you might be sleeping. And it's really hard to sleep in the hospital, so I didn't want to wake anybody up. So I would kind of take my time and go on in, and imagine my surprise when I'm in front of the door one day and I hear, "Hey, are you the chaplain? I love to talk to chaplains." There was a man in bed who honestly looked a little bit like Santa Claus. This was in the summer, by the way, but he still looked like Santa Claus. A very uncomfortable looking Santa Claus who had one leg elevated at an awkward angle. He did seem happy to see me, though. He basically asked me first thing what my denomination was. And in the hospital, I always said I'm an interfaith chaplain, and the church I'm in today is this hospital. And this was just basically something I said so that no one would be terribly confused when I said I was a Unitarian Universalist. But as an interfaith chaplain, I basically kind of fudged my way through it. But this guy had been an evangelical minister his entire life, and he shared with me that he had been with many congregations. He was a minister, and he wanted most of all just to have a theological chat. So he wanted to know in advance where I was coming from. And he said, "Oh, okay, well, it's good to meet you. We should have a good talk here. Did you know that my very favorite song in all of Christmas is It Came Upon a Midnight Clear?" So that was an interesting place to start. I kind of asked him about his experience with Christmas, and he told me that the last place that he had preached was at the Crystal Cathedral in its heyday. And did anyone else go to the Crystal Cathedral in their heyday to the glory of Christmas? It was amazing. I was in choir all through school, and we got to go to the Crystal Cathedral to sing in front as people were going in. We did not sing in the service. They had a huge choir for that. But there was all these animals in front and people in costumes and draped in gold, and it was amazing. But the most exciting thing for me was that the wise men rode in on actual camels. And the camels were very close to where we were singing. And we were told absolutely, positively not, do not touch the camels. In fact, do not even get near the camels. They will spit at you. So this is something that has stuck with me. I did not touch the camels. I heeded the warning, but it was really kind of one of the most magical Christmas experiences that I have ever had. So when he said that the Midnight Clear was one of his favorite services, I was kind of surprised. He also said that it would be unlikely that he would ever find himself in a Unitarian Universalist church on Christmas Eve. But if he did, he hoped that he would hear It Came Upon a Midnight Clear. He surmised that even though we were theologically very different, he conceded that it was the Unitarian minister, the Reverend Edmund Hamilton Sears, who penned one of his favorite hymns in 1849. It's one of my favorite hymns too. And I let him know that if anyone was preaching on Christmas Eve, he would certainly hear it. And we had many more conversations about that were not about Christmas. He just liked to talk, and we had some really interesting conversations, passionate about community and all of the things. We're really not so different, any of us. So I'll tell you a little bit about the Reverend Sears. So in 1849, I'll just give you a brief history here. It was the Spanish-American War was just ending and had ushered in things. Among some of those things was California becoming a state in 1850. It was a turbulent time. Reverend Sears was a pacifist, and his pacifism extended to a firm commitment to abolishing slavery in the Civil War, which started 5 years later in 1865. It was a tough time, and at this point, the song still remains relevant today because we keep fighting these wars. There's still strife, and as it harkens back to the birth of Jesus and the civil strife present in the time of his arrival, I'll start with a reading of Luke. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world. This was the first census that took place while Quirinius, the governor of Syria, and everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up to the town of Nazareth in Galilee, to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and the line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. While they were there, it became time for the baby to be born. She gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in clothes and placed him in a manger because there was no guest room available for them. And there were shepherds living out on the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks at night. An angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause joy for all people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in clothes and lying in a manger." Suddenly, a great company of heavenly hosts appeared with the angel, praising God, saying, "Glory to the highest heaven, and earth, peace to those on whom his favor rests." When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds once again said to themselves, "Let's go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has happened, which the Lord has told us about." So they hurried off and found Mary and Joseph, who was lying in the manger. When they had seen him, they spread the word concerning what they had been told about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds said to them. But Mary treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all the things they had heard and seen were just as what they'd been told. At this time, I invite you to sing "Angels We Have Heard on High."
Please rise in body or spirit, and let's sing "Angels We Have Heard on High."
Angels we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Glory Shepherd's wife is jubilee, why your joyous strains prolong. What the gladsome tidings mean, which inspire your heavenly song. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Unto Bethlehem and see, him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee, Christ the Lord, the newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Finding joy in this world is something that Christmas kind of gives us the ability to practice what that looks like, finding joy. We don't have to do it all on just one day. We're talking about shepherds, and at the time, I know we think of shepherds now as, kind of people who do a very important job shepherding, but at the time they were kind of looked at as the most lowly of professions. So as we lean into the teachings of Jesus, he started with the shepherds. He preached to the oppressed. He preached to everyone, not just people who were sitting in, in churches. He was not specifically speaking to just regular folks. He was speaking to people who were considered among the lowest of all people. And I think that says something to the teachings right now. I have some neighbors who have Jesus 2024 signs in front of their house, which I think is kind of awesome. And I often wonder to myself, what would that look like? What would that look like? I think that it would mean that he would be putting people first who were suffering, people who were most in need of compassion. And we all need a little compassion all the time, but kind of especially in this time of year. And there's so much pressure sometimes for us to have a perfect Christmas. And I'd like to know if anyone's ever had one. Anyone? I didn't think so. Well, we had a model on Christmas Eve in my home growing up, and I think that we all have that dream. So at my house, what that looked like was we would go to a Christmas Eve service and we would light candles. And when we came home, we would get one present that said, "Open me on Christmas Eve." And it was pajamas, which my brother and I were both a little suspect of every year. Like, really? Can't we open a new bike or I don't know, anything else? But I think my mom had a plan because the next day we would have pictures while we were opening presents. And we definitely did not want to wait to put fancy clothes on. So we would get dressed in our new pajamas and be down there. And I have 2 boxes of Christmas pictures that show the truth of this, and I gave half of them to my brother. So in the morning, we would have this Christmas bread, and my mother would stay up late and make this casserole that would have to sit in the refrigerator overnight. And I don't know if it was good, I think it was just kind of weird, but no one complained. Does anybody have a recollection of a casserole such as this? Yeah? Is yours good? Oh, okay. Well, ours was just kind of odd. It was kind of an odd thing to have for breakfast, but we did it. And then the other thing we would have are these orange rolls. And I cannot be the only person who has had these Pillsbury orange rolls because they are still available in the store. But as far as I was concerned, they only happened at Christmas. That is the only time we had them. We had them in the morning. And this is how my mom did Christmas, at least that first part of the day. And she was very committed to this routine. And, you know, it's hard to be perfect, even if you have the same thing over and over, because when I think of those rolls, the taste that comes to mind is a really sweet orange frosting with black on the bottom. Because we would always forget. So it has that little twinge of that because we would just get so excited doing other things. And it's when I think of that, it's kind of a pleasant taste in my mind. So as you're going into your Christmas and you have people in your life that like to do the same things every year, it's ritual. And it's something special, but to search for perfection in Christmas is really a very hard thing to live up to. I mean, we're told sometimes that, you know, the best thing to happen would be a car showing up in our driveway with a big bow on top. And it would be fabulous, but to this day, I only know one person that that's ever happened to, but I do know one. And I think that what we need to do is give ourselves a little grace on Christmas and lean into presence. Not Christmas presents, but our actual loving presence. Maybe sit with the quietest person in the room for a little while. And as far as burning things go, how many people have had rolls burn? Or forgotten about entirely, and you ate them with leftovers for a couple of days later? You know what? That's okay. I'm encouraging you to let the rolls burn. Don't let the house burn down, but it's okay. It's okay. Perfect Christmases are something that is projected out to us, but sometimes these imperfections are the things we love the most. Martha Stewart kind of upped our game, but I bet Martha burns rolls too. I see joy in the fact that we did get to be together. And even though our traditions change, we get to practice different traditions as we visit other families. We get to visit different traditions as we go to different churches. Is anyone here for the first time? Oh, welcome. I'm sure whatever churches that you have been to maybe do things a little bit different, but I think there's small joys in this world that we treasure, and we think of joy as this big thing, but it is a big thing sometimes in a very small package. And as we go through our time within the next years to come, when things seem challenging, I think Christmas is our time to practice. We can remember the little joys that we capture, and we're going to sing about them. We're going to sing joy to the world. The world needs joy, and we need joy. And I would like you to sing this carol as if you were singing it to the whole wide world tonight. You don't have to be good. You can burn the rolls. Just sing with your full heart.
Please rise in body or spirit and let's sing joy to the world.
Joy to the world, the word is come. Let earth with praise
this time, I would like to invite Craig. He has a few words for you.
Thank you, Wendy. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to bring up the ministerial discretionary fund. Wendy spoke of rituals before. This is a ritual. Normally, Tom Locker would be up here in his top hat and red scarf, so I'm filling in for Tom. But it's a very important ritual that we do every Christmas Eve, where the money we raise during the offering goes directly to the ministerial discretionary fund. For those that don't know what this fund is, Reverend Sean, our minister, takes these funds and uses them to her discretion, whether they're for us, our community, or even the outside community. People are in need sometimes, whether it's maybe the utilities are about to be shut off and they need help. If there's help for the rent, if there's an unexpected car repair, it could be anything. And Sean is confidential about it. She's anonymous about it, so we never know, but we kind of hear afterwards. Sometimes, these are the various things that the fund is used for. So it's for a very good cause. And we ask, and this is where Tom would say, as the basket comes around, if you're reaching for 5, pull out a 10. If you're reaching for a 10, pull out a 20. If you're reaching for a 20, pull out 2 20s. So we also accept checks, so whatever is convenient. I ask that you be generous for this important fund, and thank you.
Your wallets, dear people participating in that ritual, I wanted to let you know that now is the time to put a baby name in if there is someone you would like mentioned in the baby ritual today. Thank you, everyone. We come together tonight to remember the history or the myth that says hope was born in the form of a baby named Jesus. What is so compelling about the story of Jesus' birth, his life, his love? Why has this story reached across the ages while so many others have faded into history? Jesus embodies the best of what humanity can be. Compassionate, humble, brave, and mortal, Jesus asks us to make the most of our lives, to create joy where there is pain, to care for the poor and question the powerful, and perhaps most importantly, to question the purpose of our own lives. What will we leave in our wake? In whom will we be reborn? What light can we bring in the darkness together? Tonight, on the eve of Christmas, we can contemplate the significance that one person can have and revel in the possibilities. I'd like to invite Reverend Judy back up as we name our babies for the year.
We Unitarian Universalists have a beautiful tradition of naming the babies. This is where we acknowledge the beautiful souls that have been born this year. For we Unitarian Universalists affirm that each night a child is born is a holy night. Zoomers, do you know a baby that was born this year? If so, you're invited to write it in the chat. Roomers, I trust you have already done that, but if anybody else needs an extra piece of paper, the ushers will bring it to you. So just raise your hand. Well, let us begin with the reading of the names. Baby Evelyn in Paradise, Pennsylvania.
Casey Wade Johnson.
Priya.
Isaac.
Bruce Renshaw.
Quincy Robinson.
Declan Patrick McKinley.
Aravam Block.
Dominic Anthony D'Agostino.
River Ridge Lions. The choir will lead us in song.
Please join us in singing each For So the Children Come. 3. Let's start. Sorry, no. Here we go. 3.
Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy
For so the children come, and so they have been coming, always in the same way they come, born of the seed of man and woman.
No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses. No wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind.
Each night a child is born, is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born, is a holy night.
Yet each night a child is born is a holy night. Fathers and mothers sitting beside their children's cribs feel the glory in the sign of a new life beginning. They ask, Where and how will this new life end? Or will it ever end?
Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born is a holy night.
Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, and a time for worshiping.
Each night a child is born is a holy night, a time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping. Each night a child is born is a holy night.
So it's time for our candle lighting portion. We're going to lower the lights, so be careful where you're walking. Each of us brings a light into this world that is unique and special and important. We light these candles for the people around us and for all of the light that helps us appreciate the darkness and bring out the best in each other at this time. Reverend Judy and the ushers and I will be starting to light the candles, and the choir will start singing, and then we will join them in silent night once all our candles are lit.
Kathleen.
She can see your music. She can see your keyboard.
That one better.
Peace, peace, peace on earth and goodwill to all. This is a time for
Merry Christmas, everyone. May you have a beautiful holiday. Be present to the people in your life, whoever they are, however far away. They can feel it from wherever they're at. We're going to extinguish our chalice with this benediction from Howard Thurman. This is the work of Christmas. When the song of angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flock, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among people, to make music in the heart. Merry Christmas, everyone. Let's bring peace on earth this year.